What do you want to see? Well, what needs to happen in your opinion here?
I want them to ask Mitch Marner to waive his no trade clause and say, do you want to change the scenery? Would you like to go somewhere else? You don't seem happy here. You're not trying. You're not doing anything. Like, do you really expect us to extend you with a big raise? Because honestly, if the worst case scenario is we just kind of lose him and just open up his cap room, I would take that. And maybe that's controversial. I don't know, but why in the hell would I want to keep him when it's not like year after year? This isn't a prediction that he's not going to get it done. This isn't a hypothetical, scenario. It's already done. It's already happened. I watched what I watched. You're not winning with him. He doesn't have what it takes to lead the team to win. Maybe you go to different pastures somewhere and you have a different look, and maybe there's a different, team set around him where he can have more success. But he unequivocally was not willing to do anything different to find success, where usually guys go through absolute walls, reinvent their game, do whatever it takes. And he wasn't even willing to dip his toe in the water of playoff hockey. Get rid of him, is my opinion. And if you get something back for him, awesome. But work with the cap that he opens up for you, and get some pieces in there. And I think Tree Living, I trust and believe in him that he's the guy to make this team better. Secondly, Sheldon Keefe, you need a new voice in there. I don't have a lot against him or anything like that, but he's not inspiring this team. He's not getting what we need out of them, and a new voice and a new mentality, a new culture, and someone that can hold some accountability to the style of play that needs to be played. You don't just turn it on in the playoffs. Someone like, the guys that were mentioned all the time that will hold them more accountable. I think it was the direction they were going with Mike Babcock, because this group needed it, and that blew up in their face. And they went with their inexperienced guy that was in-house, that was more of a player's coach, and thought that maybe this team could rally under that type of leadership. They came close, but it's more of the same. So those changes right there, that's two changes that are big changes. I understand, but it's not that hard to do. I just can't imagine Mitch saying, nope, I won't even exercise the idea. I won't even have the conversation. I'm staying here for another year and I want an extension. I just can't imagine that's the case. But we'll see.
Personally, I think it starts from the top. I think the Shannon plan has ran
Yeah.
its course, if you want to call it that. It's been a decade. It's not working. I would move on from that. Right there with you with Mitch Marner. He makes the most logical sense. It's going to be a difficult conversation. He's a local product, but to your point, the guy looks miserable. Like, when people have just hit their breaking point, like this year,
Yeah.
Marner looked miserable. Like he didn't have fun playing hockey, and that's concerning. That is really, really concerning. I felt the same way about Sheldon Keefe. I think he's done. And I think if you're asking me right now, I think Craig Berube is going to be the next head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, go back to our interview in January. Go back to the fact that he's been waiting for some reason. There's so many head coaching vacancies out there. And I think everybody connect the dots. You know what's going on here. You know why he's waiting. He's a former Maple Leaf. And the other thing I would do, man, and I don't know if you agree or disagree, I think it's time to give Austin Matthews the captaincy. Like John Tavares is 1 year away. I think Matthews is everything to this franchise, to this team, his leadership, plays in game 7. I thought he was good, everything, considered. I just think it's like a changing of the guard, and I think that can uplift a room, especially with a new era when you think a new coach is coming in.
Well, I tell you, I wish John Tavares' contract was 1 year shorter, because this would be a whole different conversation that we're having with, 11 million open up there. Maybe you can get Marner gone, and then all of a sudden it's like you have so much, the cap goes up. You have so much to work with. You could really build around what you saw that you liked this year. But I just don't see any benefit that's going to change anything to stripping. Like, that's the story. John Tavares stripped of his captaincy. That's the story. Just to give it to Austin, like, why? What does it accomplish? What's going to change? It's just bringing negativity. Like, then what does John do the rest of the year? Everyone's just like, he was the captain. He couldn't get it done. Now he's just got to limp through this year with his $11 million with no letter. Like, it just doesn't provide anything. Like, Austin Matthews can lead the team just the same, whether that piece of material is on his left shoulder or not. It just only provides a media storm of frenzy. John doesn't really need that. It doesn't really bring anything positive to the table. So no, I'm against that. When John's done his contract, then we can talk about where the sea goes. But stripping him right now to give it to Austin accomplishes nothing but bringing in more negative news.
We got a super chat from Greg McMullen who sends us $2. Appreciate it. If Mitch Marner won't move, sit him all season. Imagine they did that.
Oh my God. Like, if you look at the playoffs on who is playing well, and look at the games, man, and what Mitch Marner brought to the games. Like, what was his value?
I'll just say
you look at
he was David Kampf. He was David Kampf.
I look at the valuable players on who I would take out and who I was willing to take out for Mitch Marner, and you're starting to shuffle down to the bottom 3-4 guys on the team is what he was that's his comparables. I don't care, like, you talk about points and people say, oh, he's got a point a game. I pulled up something that said like he's the highest point getter since I don't even know what year, 48 points in 52 games or something like that. No one else is close. Numbers can be deceiving, man. I mean, he got an assist in like game 6 or something, or 5, and it was just like coming up the wall and he just let the puck go to the D-man who shot it in, and that's your assist. Like, that means nothing to me. My fucking kid can do that. I'm talking about like a whole body of work in the playoffs for him was abysmal, like way more bad than good. And you're a $10+ million player, and you're giving me more bad than good, where you almost want to have the conversation of, would we rather just like not have him in because he's like a detriment? He's not on the same page as anybody else. Why is that? I don't know. Ask Mitch Marner. Why didn't you try harder? Why were you so unwilling to take it to the net? How come every time you got in a position where you were getting, choked off, and you'd have to like use your body to drive to the net and maybe bounce off a D-man or something just to get that thing to the net for a big rebound like John Tavares did in the one game? Why were you so unwilling to do that? Like, ask him. And he'll probably roll his eyes and think everyone's a jerk. And like, fine, you don't like it here. You don't like anyone here. You don't like the scrutiny. You don't like to play hard. You didn't show up in the playoffs. You didn't seem to have like just any amount of desperation. Like, I know I don't have my game right now. I know I'm not scoring, but like, just go crash into someone and just dive for that loose puck and whack it and get in someone's face and scream and yell or do something. No, he just, the only thing he did was throw his gloves on the ground. That's the most emotion he showed the entire series. And it's not good enough. And his comparables are pathetic for a guy of his talent level and his superstardom. He didn't play with any talent, and his superstardom was non-existent. So that's all that matters to me, man. I would love it. It would be so much easier if he was phenomenal and he wasn't a problem, but he is. So we're talking about it. Like, sorry to say, I don't like hating on people. And I don't like ripping star players, but that his performance was pathetic.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.